What's up, guys? It's Caleb Courtney here with Keller Williams in Wilmington, coming at you with another video today. I'm excited about this one. This is a question I get often, and I'm surprised that people don't know this already. Today, we're gonna be talking about what is the difference between a buyer's agent and a listing agent. Stay tuned. So this is one of the things I thought people generally understood about real estate agents when I got into the career. However, I realized that typically you don't buy or sell a home every 5 to 7 years or so. And I'm doing this every single week. So I want to clear this up, and I want to educate you on how real estate agents can work for you in the different roles and capacities they work in. Okay, so there's two main ways that an agent can work for you. They can help you buy a home, that is known as a buyer's agent, or they can help you list and sell your home. They have two completely different roles, but there are lots of things that intersect that both are going to do for you. So I'm going to use a Venn diagram up here on our trustee board today to kind of show you the differences between the buyer side and the seller side and what they're both going to do for you. Oh my God, that is a terrible circle. Okay, here's our Venn diagram. Excuse, I don't have perfect circle drawing abilities, but you get the point. So we're gonna break down the differences between both, but maybe it's best to start talking about what are both agents going to do for you. So the first thing I'm gonna write down is the word fiduciary. So what is a fiduciary? The fiduciary basically means that we are bound by our ethics and by the North Carolina Real Estate Commission to treat your money as if it were our money. This is extremely important. Neither agent should be pricing or trying to sell you a home just to get a commission. We are actually bound by North Carolina Real Estate Commission law to treat your money higher than our own. So this means that you should be receiving the absolute top level of treatment, and someone is looking after your finances before their own. This is very, very important when selecting an agent. You want to make sure that you're working with someone who is making you feel and understand that they are your fiduciary first and foremost. Both the buyer's agent and the listing agent are going to need a comprehensive understanding of the market. They're both going to need to be market professionals in whatever area that you're looking to list or buy in, so that they can give you the top level of service. So this one is very, very important for both a buyer's agent and a listing agent to do for you. So, number 3, big one, negotiate. Both agents are going to negotiate on your behalf. Again, as a fiduciary, they should be negotiating on either getting the home at the lowest price, if you're a buyer's agent, and or realizing the highest amount of profit and or the best terms for your seller as a listing agent. Both sides are going to need a high level of skills in negotiation, and what that looks like is going to vary from agent to agent and different pricing strategies and whatnot. But both sides are going to be your negotiator to help you get the best deal. All right, I wrote strong communication. This is something, again, going to be needed no matter what you do. You're going to need frequent, updated communication with your client at all times about what's going on throughout the transaction or the potential property search if you're on the buy side. And guys, there's a lot of things that both agents are going to do. We're not going to cover it all here, but one thing I find very important is someone who's just good to work with. At the end of the day, who you work with really, really matters. The level of treatment, the type of personality that's going to be going out and working for you. And I think it's very, very important that you get along with that person and you guys have great communication and you're good to work with. Otherwise, things can get a little bit rocky. So this is very important no matter which side that you're working on. Last thing here that both agents are going to do, they're going to provide a CMA, or a comparative market analysis for you. This is very, very important. You're going to do this as a buyer's agent and you're going to do this as a listing agent. But this is really diving deep into the numbers. If you're selling a home, it's diving into the comps and finding what that price should be. And if you're buying a house, it is also finding what that property should trade at, or the range of value that the property should reasonably be purchased. So this CMA is going to look different for each agent, but it is number one of the most important responsibilities that both agents can provide for you is that comparative market analysis. So let's jump over to the buyer's side first. Let's talk about a buyer's agent. Now, buyer's agency hasn't really been around that long. In North Carolina, I believe that it only really came into fruition around the early 2000s, 2005, 2006. Maybe you can check me on that. Before then, you were only talking to the listing agent, or the agent representing the seller of the property. Their job is to realize the highest amount of profit for their client. And if you didn't know much about real estate or transactions or mortgages or attorneys, then you might have been bamboozled by a listing agent to realize the best terms for their client. So buyer's agency is very, very important to protect yourself throughout the real estate transaction, working with someone who knows the market, knows the transactions, knows the prices, that they should be able to take care of you. A buyer's agent and a listing agent has completely different sets of skills and can serve their clients in different ways. So one of the things that the buyer's agents are going to do is going to help you find the property you're looking for. All right, so I wrote help find property because honestly, nowadays with Zillow and Realtor and Trulia and sites like that, 90% of my buyer clients have already found the property, sometimes even before I do. But what I do ahead of them is what I do as a buyer's agent is I check the hot sheet, which is the most updated properties that just came on the market in the last 24 hours and or price adjustments. And I look through those every single morning when my clients may or may not be available to look, so that they don't miss an opportunity. So I help them find those properties. Sometimes I find them exclusively. Sometimes my buyers bring me a list of properties and we go from there. So this can look different, but I will tell you that the main role of the buyer's agent really isn't helping you find the property as much as it's helping you get that property at a great price and get through the transaction without any hiccups. So once the buyer's agent helps you find a property, then we're going to facilitate showings with an S, multiple showings. I would say that I typically show my buyers on average around 10 homes before we find the perfect one. Sometimes that number is more, sometimes it's less, but as a buyer's agent, we're gonna be facilitating those showings, we're gonna be scheduling them and making sure that we have the proper keys and access codes and all that. So we're gonna be building an itinerary and showing you those homes. Whoa, I almost forgot something very, very important I'm gonna put up here at the top first, and that's gonna be connecting you with a lender to get pre-approved so you can start shopping for homes. It's important to note that you can work with whoever you want to on the lending side. However, most agents have lenders and banks that they have worked with before who have provided great communication and seamless service throughout the transaction. So ask whoever your buyer agent is what lender they prefer to work with, and then you can interview a couple and work with whoever that you want. Just important to know. So on the buyer side, after we help find the property, facilitate the showings, we're going to write an offer. Yes, this can be one of the most exciting parts and also one of the most anxiety-ridden parts of this, depending on the market that you're in. The market we're in right now is super, super hot, and it's a heavy seller's market, so we're having to write offers quick and aggressive to get our buyers in homes. But for this offer, we're going to advise the purchase price or the offer price. We're going to do that with our CMA, our comparative market analysis, and then we're also going to advise on the terms of that offer. And by terms, I mean due diligence money, earnest money deposit, closing date, due diligence date, the financing type, which we probably would have figured out earlier with the lender, personal property to convey, whether there's any addendum attached, whether there's any contingency attached. I'm gonna do a whole nother video on potentially writing an offer because there is so much to unpack there, but just know that the buyer's agent is gonna help advise the best terms for our buyer to secure the asset, to get control of it, and to hopefully realize it at the best potential price for my buyer. So once the offer is accepted, we are then under contract, or sometimes called in escrow. So this is the period of time which we have typically a negotiated period of time, average about 20 days or so, due diligence period, to do our inspections on the home and to make sure that everything looks good for the buyer so that they don't have any issue moving on with the purchase. So that's what we call our DD period, or our due diligence period. Again, this is where you're gonna be doing your home inspection, maybe a termite inspection, maybe some water or well, roof, whatever that it is on that unique property, to make sure that it is in the appropriate condition for the price and the terms that we wrote on that offer. So then what happens if we find something wrong with the home? Oh no, we found that the subfloor was soaking wet, or there's a roof leak, or there's a crack in the foundation. This is where the buyer's agent is going to really come in handy to help you prepare and navigate through that. So the buyer's agent is going to work with allied resources or vendors that they have already built relationships with in the community to help advise on the cost of those repairs, getting estimates, and then ultimately potentially negotiating those estimates during our due diligence period. So I'm going to write negotiate repairs on here. Man, my handwriting is getting worse as I get lower. So negotiating repairs, this is another thing that a buyer's agent can do for you. Not every transaction you're gonna have repairs negotiated. If it is a low price point, then you may go into the transaction saying that there's not gonna be any repairs. This depends on your pricing strategy and your purchasing strategy on an individual basis. But sometimes there are going to be issues that rise up after a home inspection that you weren't aware of. We call them latent defects that no one could really be aware of. And that's when we're going to negotiate those repairs or a credit for our buyers to take care of those repairs that comes out of the seller's pocket. And one of the last things I'm going to put on here for the basic overview of the buyer's agent is going to be monitoring timelines to close. And so what I mean by that is there's a lot of communication that has to go on after this due diligence period between the buyer, the lender, and the attorney. In North Carolina, we require an attorney to do our closings and record the deed with the Register of Deeds. So there's a few moving parts, and the buyer's agent is responsible for making sure that timelines are good, everyone is prepared and has the documents they need, everyone is scheduled and good to go. Because believe it or not, lenders and attorneys are not perfect. They're human just like me, and we all make mistakes. So it is important to have a buyer's agent looking over and making sure that everything is good to go so that we meet those timelines. And the last thing, finally, is we close. Thank God. My favorite part about being a buyer's agent is the satisfaction of dropping the keys in my buyer's hands and they walk through that door for the first time. There is something emotional about helping someone on the buyer side that I don't feel like I get on the listing side. So this can be very, very rewarding emotionally to help your clients get through that time and that big moment in their life purchasing a new property. Okay, well, let's hop over and talk about the listing agent side. So the listing agent is going to work for the seller of that property. So 123 Main Street. Becky owns 123 Main Street. Becky needs an agent to sell it. Becky calls me. So what I'm going to do for Becky is going to be completely different than how I would approach a potential buyer. So overall, the listing agent's responsibility is to sell the home for the highest potential dollar amount to realize the highest potential profit for their seller, or the best terms for that seller too. For example, I know it's hard to believe, but some sellers may not need the highest potential dollar. They may need to sell in the quickest amount of time. So it's realizing the highest dollar amount or the best potential terms for your seller. So the first responsibility of the listing agent is going to be to price the property appropriately, I might add. So price the property. How are you going to come up with the price of the property? Well, the agent is going to do this CMA again, or comparative market analysis. They're going to determine the range that that property should sell in with the specific upgrades or fits and finishes to that house to determine the exact range, again, that you're going to hope to sell it in, and then your pricing strategy in order to make it sell in that range. Every listing agent is gonna have a different pricing strategy, so is every seller. So it's not always gonna be the same. I'm just gonna say price the property appropriately depending on that seller's particular situation, what would be the best for them. You know what, I started to write that and I realized this one is so important that I'm gonna write it really big. Okay, so really the big thing here is listing the property and then marketing the property. This in and of itself is probably the biggest responsibility for the listing agent. You want to get this thing in the MLS, in our multiple listing service, accurately, I might add, with accurate square footage and year built and tax records and all that good stuff. But then you're going to market the property, and this is what will set agents apart. Getting the most amount of eyeballs and potential buyers on your property as possible. So that is why it's very important to price the property appropriately and then to market it to the most amount of people in the shortest amount of time so we can get the absolute best buyer for the property. This can be done a bunch of different ways. Some agents are old school and they put ads in the newspaper. I tend to take a more digital marketing approach where we blast it out and we do professional videography, professional photography, sometimes drone videos, virtual tours, live walkthroughs. You guys see my videos. This is what I like to bring to the table when I'm working with my sellers to get the most eyes on their unique and beautiful property. It's just gonna underline that a little bit more. Market property. All right, so I'm just gonna write, once we find the buyer of the property or multiple buyers, sometimes we're seeing in our market now, we're gonna be negotiating those offers. Now I know I put negotiate here for both, but this is a different type of negotiation. For the buyer right now in the seller's market, the negotiating is just getting that offer accepted or in a position to get accepted, while over here, we're trying to realize, again, the highest potential dollar amount or the best terms for our client. So this could be looking through multiple offers and organizing them and presenting them in a way that the seller can look through and choose the best offer that's gonna work for them. I'm gonna write this on here, verification. This is one thing that just came into my mind. When you do have a bunch of different offers, one of the roles of that listing agent can be following up and making sure those offers have pre-approvals. And if they are, even calling those lenders and asking about the other agents, buyers, clients, just to make sure that they are vetted and can afford the property. Because again, as a fiduciary to your seller, you don't want to be letting anyone get under contract with that property if they potentially could fall out of financing or have something come up or have a home they need to sell and there's a contingency. So I would say that verification is very, very important in vetting the best potential buyer in order to purchase that property. Again, I wrote monitor the due diligence period. Again, this is going to be when the property is under contract. The buyer side are doing their home inspections. They're figuring stuff out. And then you guys are going to potentially negotiate. Again, if you're negotiating on the listing side, you're trying to not give up money out of your seller's pocket if you can help it in order to get the transaction closed. So it is, again, holding on to as much money as possible, or depending on the offer situation, flat out refusing to do repairs. This is a very individual transaction basis, depending on your pricing strategy and the strength of the offer that you're receiving. But again, you're just gonna monitor and continue to negotiate and make sure to keep your seller in the best position to realize the best deal. And again, I'm just gonna put there monitoring timelines to close. You stay on top of communication with the buyer's agent, with their attorney, with their lender, and making sure that everything is gonna gel and close on time. So again, this is a broad overview, and I could fill this up with even more, but generally speaking, what I like to say is buyer's agents sometimes get a reputation of being more personable and able to work with multiple clients at once. As a buyer's agent, sometimes you'll work with someone for 50 to 100 hours. Sometimes you'll work with someone for a couple hours. This is just typically how it works. So if you're going to be focusing on being more of a buyer's agent, or if you're utilizing your buyer's agent, just know that they're not only working for you, that they do have other clients that they're showing to, just so you have an idea of how that they're working for you. And as a listing agent, the general idea is that they're typically more hard-nosed negotiators, type of people. This is not always true, but typically your bulldogs tend to be your best listing agents that won't back down from a fight and will always realize the highest potential dollar for their clients. So I hope this was helpful, just understanding a little bit of differences between how an agent can work for you on the buy side and how they can work for you on the sell side. I do both. I work for buyers and sellers. So it takes these two different sets of skills, and I have to switch my brain when I'm working with both a buyer or a seller. But I absolutely love it. This is what I do every day, full time, 24/7, and this is what I love helping people either buy or sell their property. I love it because no matter which side you're on, you're getting to help someone through one of the biggest transitions in your life, and it forges you with people. And I love nothing more than building relationships with my peers and with my community and helping them navigate these big transitions to get them to the next level or the next chapter in their life. If you're looking to list your home or you're looking to buy a home, will you please just give me a call? Even if it's not here in my local market in the Wilmington area, I can still help you nationwide with my absolute rock star referral partners all over who I have already made sure will do an amazing job for you. Guys, this has been a blast going over some of the differences between buyer's agents and listing agents and stuff that all agents should be doing for you. This is what I hope to do for my clients, and maybe I hope to do for you. So if you found this video valuable, hit the like button, drop a comment, hit the heart button, whatever. I would love that. If you have an idea of a video that you want done, let me know. I will also love to work that in the rotation, and I just hope you found value from this overall. So again, my name is Caleb Courtney with Keller Williams here in Wilmington, North Carolina. And thank you for watching, and I will see you at the next video. Peace out. Thanks so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. If you like this content, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, follow me on Facebook and on Instagram. Love you guys so much, and I will see you at the next video.